And welcome to 9 on 9. It's a new weekly show here on KTSM 9 News. I'm Daniel Marin. Each week we're going to be dissecting a topic impacting the borderland through longer form interviews and analysis that we can't always bring you in our regular newscasts. 9 questions, 9 answers, though I might sneak in a follow-up question here and there. Tonight, the topic is economic development in El Paso and helping our small businesses as we try to turn the corner on the pandemic. We are joined tonight by Jessica Herrera, Director of Economic Development for the City of El Paso, and Cindy Ramos Davidson, the CEO of the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. All right, thank you both so much for joining us here. We're going to begin our questions now, and we'll begin with Jessica. I know that the pandemic has created big challenges in terms of economic development when it comes to the city. Could you kind of take us through maybe where we were before we got hit by this and where we are currently in terms of major projects or initiatives in the city?
El Paso is a resilient market. It's always been. We've weathered, many storms, but definitely this pandemic really kind of, shook things up in terms of just our industry sectors across, all the different types of business establishments that are not just located here in El Paso, but in Ciudad Juarez. But I could tell you that in 2019, we made significant strides. If you remember, we really were able to close on developments like a master plan community out in the Northeast. However, as we faced, 2020 and the pandemic started, most of the projects still maintained their expansion. They probably had put pause and just still proceeded. But projects as significant as Great Wolf Lodge Resorts, for example, was terminated and unfortunately was not able to proceed. And the reason being, the hospitality market had faced some pretty significant challenges and is still facing those. But as we progressed through the 2020 and most of that year, I got to tell you, Daniel, we saw a 44% increase in terms of our job creation and retention in terms of just the level of confidence from companies with the passage of the USMCA and just the critical importance that we were seeing in manufacturing with the distribution and production of PPE. We still saw the level of confidence. I mean, we had almost an 800% increase in the level of investment from 2019 to 2020. So all to say that we were experiencing challenges, definitely our most vulnerable, our small businesses were the first and foremost that the city immediately, in conjunction with other partner organizations like our El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, those types of partnerships were indeed important throughout 2020, but that did not, create the level of just negativity that we were seeing across, the rest of the country and other parts of the world.
And I know we want to touch on small businesses in just a moment, but I do want to follow up on the Great Wolf Lodge because I know a lot of people were disappointed to hear that kind of fell apart. Is that just gone? Is there any chance to salvage that project or maybe something of the same kind of magnitude?
One of the things that we're really confident about is that even though we're seeing the hospitality sector experience some significant challenges with this pandemic, our hotel occupancy here has still remained fairly strong. It's getting stronger relative to the rest of the state. We're seeing a higher level of occupancy. So in terms of just the hotel sector, that's a big plus for us. We're not giving up on our ability to recruit a resort hotel. And so I could tell you that in the next 2 to 3 years, as we see, this pandemic, turn and we see, more favorable outcomes, I could tell you that there's a lot more of an opportunity for us to have additional conversations with resort hotels because a region like ours, and the fact that we really want to be a destination is still priority for our city.
I want to bring in Cindy into this conversation now. Cindy, from the vantage points of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce here in El Paso, you all have been on the ground helping the small businesses, getting them rapid testing kits, all sorts of things. What are you hearing from the businesses right now? What do they need right now?
Well, number one, top of the line always is cash is king. I mean, infusion of dollars is what is critical. Even though there have been so many grant programs and PPP and all that activity, there still needs to be additional cash. And that's going to be an ongoing challenge for business all across the country, especially here in El Paso. The dollars have helped them at least open up and sustain themselves for a little bit, but now they have to take a look at sustaining themselves further than just the little bit they got. And small business seems, and they have felt that they were on the back of the line when they should be on the front of the line in terms of all of these activities that are happening. But I want to share some really good news about what's happening with the new 2.0 PPP. And so for the first time, they're listening to us up on the Hill in Washington, D.C., and they established what they call a 14-day exclusive opportunity for small businesses and not-for-profits that have less than 20 employees, and it opens up tomorrow. So everybody out there who has an opportunity to listen to this, call our office and we will help guide you through that, because that was one of the little areas, and I don't say little but big areas, that was closed at the onset of getting all these grant dollars on their early set from the PPP. And so now they've opened that up exclusively just for that dynamics of small businesses all across the country.
I mentioned those COVID testing kits that you all have been giving out. You all have kind of had to become kind of experts when it comes to testing.
We know about the drops and the swabs, and we know about all that kind of stuff. Very excited with the Texas Emergency Management out of Austin and the governor's office. We called and said, we want to be a pilot, we want to be part of this pilot, because they rolled it out in December, because we feel that we need to do more besides just giving grant dollars with our partners in trying to help stall this COVID spread and try to get our small minority, veteran, and women-owned businesses back on track. And in order to do that, they've got to have healthy employees, they've got to make sure their customers are safe, and these kits are great because you get to know in 15 minutes, just like that, whether or not somebody in your environment has COVID or not. And so it gives them a chance to do more pre-planning than having to lose time that somebody leaves and goes and stays in line to get a test. They can do the test right there. And so call our office. As soon as we're out of these kits, we get more. And the more that you have them, the more opportunity you have to help stall the spread. And the more our businesses get back on track, the more ribbon cuttings that we can get back at.
And that's exactly what we want to see. We got to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk much more about restarting the economy here in the Sun City. Stay with us. And welcome back to 9 on 9 this evening. We are examining the economic situation in El Paso due to the pandemic and its effect on our small businesses. I want to jump back to Jessica Herrera with Economic Development with the City of El Paso. Jessica, how do we get back to normal? Is there a plan in place to pull us out of where we are right now, or is you just trying to return to what you were doing before? Where do we go from here?
We're entering into a new normal. I don't think we're going to go back to the way things were. Number one, the digital transformation that we're seeing, right, and how it's impacting all of our different industries, our business owners. The fact that many of our business owners have really established new delivery mechanisms. Some are doing the curbside, online delivery. What I could tell you in terms of what we're doing is we're working very closely with our partner organizations, our educational institutions, so that we can continue to train our workforce. I'll tell you as an example, TJ Maxx, Amazon with the fulfillment centers and distribution centers. You're going to have, technology impacting in the ways of robotics and artificial intelligence. So those are two aspects, just as an example. So there's a number of things just within the IT realm that we could do in terms of just training and professional development, continuous education. In terms of getting our industry sectors, we're going to continue to be as aggressive to let markets in Asia, markets across different parts of the world understand the importance of expanding in a region like El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, state of Chihuahua, southern New Mexico. You have a region of more than 2.7 million people within a 50-mile radius. So we're confident that we're going to see more favorable and significant announcements, and that unemployment number will start to decrease.
Cindy, you all are in constant communication when it comes to the small businesses here in El Paso with the Hispanic Chamber. The ones that are doing well, the ones that have kind of weathered the storms, the ones that have survived, what do you think the key was to them just making it through this?
It was the fact that small business owners, entrepreneurs live in the world of possibilities, and they make possibilities. And that is true, I think, for every business. And those that have survived this have been because they took a deep breath and they thought about what they were really good at, and they figured out how to make it better, but take it online. And so that's one of the things that we have been teaching some of our businesses, is that from now on in your business planning process, you no longer need a financial plan, an HR plan, a marketing plan, and a legal plan. You need a tech plan. Business owners having adaptability, accessibility, and affordability to technology that will take them to all kinds of markets globally. And so we have to teach that mainstream business owner, who sometimes is the older person in the business, on the adaptability aspect of engaging technology, because it's going to be here to stay.
What kind of resources are out there to get them that technology they need?
There are all kinds of resources. We just did a great panel on what they call Digital El Paso, and there are a lot of collaborators that have come together to help do this, from the city, the county, and private sector, to try to find federal dollars, state dollars, local dollars, and private sector dollars, to try to figure out ways to build an infrastructure that's better. You know, with 5G coming, I'm learning a lot about this, and I was one of those that didn't want to learn how to do a ThinkPad iPad, and now I'm like Facebook, Snapchat, all of that kind of stuff, and now I'm learning about augmented reality. That's the world that we're coming into, and our young adults, many of them have grown up as digital babies. They can be the next innovators and creators of entrepreneurship in that world to help that multi-generational family business here locally continue to expand their markets.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about recruiting new businesses to El Paso. You're watching 9 on 9 on KTSM 9 News. And welcome back to 9 on 9. We're talking about rebuilding our economy here in the Sun City and propping up our small businesses in light of what's happened with the pandemic. Jessica, I have a question for you now. What is the city doing to recruit new businesses? El Pasoans get very excited whenever we have new retailers, new restaurants especially, moving to El Paso. What are you all doing right now to try to bring in new business in this kind of very challenging climate right now?
You know, one of the things that we've been doing is we've had virtual site visits, right? And what I mean by that is we've invited site consultants, we've invited companies. We see that manufacturing is gaining some significant traction. You know, rumblings on automotive side, on the medical device sector, aerospace and defense, and the travel to space. So there's been a lot of conversations there. So there's a number of companies across the United States and outside of the US that we've had conversations. And you know, when TJ Maxx moved in during the pandemic and we were able to close on that deal, that's a Fortune, 500, 100 company that is based, now going to be under construction in the fall of 2021 at the airport. So that is opening up, a lot of interest. And that's just on the industrial side. You talk about retail, that's changing, right? Our malls are definitely, losing tenants, but we're also seeing additional retailers that are expanding.
Cindy, we have about a minute left in this segment, but you were telling me earlier that you are getting some new members in the Hispanic Chamber right now. What kind of businesses are you seeing joining?
Mostly service businesses. We see a lot of them coming back. We see a lot of them getting re-engaged. They recognize that they can't do this alone. The El Paso Hispanic Chamber, it's for everyone. It's for anyone who has an idea that wants to take a dream and turn it into a reality. And so we're recognizing that people want a level of connectivity, but they want a live face. So we answer the phone. It doesn't go to a voicemail. If you get counseling from us, we stay with you through the life of your business. And so we're seeing that business needs someone that they can get connected to that help guide them through all the maze of everything that's happening. And so we have really seen an uptick in that. We've seen a lot of startup businesses get started specifically by women, because women have been hit the hardest with this pandemic in terms of doing childcare at home and then doing a job. So we're seeing a lot of people come in and do that. And of course we've been doing affordable payment plans and deferring renewal dates. We've been doing everything to help the small business market, because the market that we serve, the market that supports us, is the market that's been hit the hardest. And we recognize that day in, day out. We understand that they have true sweat equity. What we've been trying to tell them is they need to learn how to do a job like we did, and that's diversify your people, diversify your product, diversify your leadership, and diversify your service. And use us as a conduit by which to make that connectivity, and we will try to help you navigate your way up to your dream, to reality of managing and thriving and surviving with your business. I think anybody in the world needs to come to El Paso. If I could just say, we are kind of a light in the shining star, the light in the shining star, as they say on the mountain. We're the only one who had electricity when everybody else went out through all of Texas. We learned our lessons. So if anybody wants to grow and expand your business, this is the place to do it. We've got the heart, the soul, the passion, the commitment, and the supplier base to support it. There's no better place than to do business in El Paso today.
All right, we're going to take one more quick break. We're going to come back with some final thoughts. You're watching 9 on 9 on KTSM 9 News. All right, before we close our show, we want to get some final thoughts. Jessica, what can people do to get involved when it comes to helping out our economy here in El Paso?
Well, first and foremost, I think one thing that is important that we all need to recognize is that we're all ambassadors of our community, our region. Be careful if you're out in the streets, at the gas station, at a grocery store, and somebody asks you, what is there to do in El Paso? I think one of the best things that you could do is have a positive message for that individual that is asking, because you never know if that individual is coming in to look at an opportunity to expand their business, to move in. That is incredibly important. Let's always remember to have that positive message and that, really, strong self-esteem of who we are as a community.
And Cindy, same question to you. Some closing thoughts before we leave.
I was just going to chime in to Jessica, because it is about buying local, keeping it local, promoting it local, and doing everything you can local. Small mom and pop is the economic core of any community, and that is so truly here in our market. And so the best thing that anyone can do is think El Paso first before you go anyplace else, because I can guarantee you, for the most part, you can get the service or quality of what you need here in El Paso. And don't let your guard down. Keep your mask on, watch your distancing, do your safety protocols. It's important, and then call our office and get one of our safety kits. They're for free, and they'll help you keep your employees as well as your customers safe.
All right, Cindy Ramos-Davidson with the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Jessica Herrera with the City of El Paso Economic Development. Thank you both so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us for this maiden voyage of 9 on 9. If you've missed any part of our show, we're going to be putting it up on KTSM.com. And if you have any ideas for a topic that you would like to see us talk about, just reach out to me on social media. I'm Daniel Marin. Have a great night.